Well, we've come up to the Ramsey Cottage Hospital. With me is Richard and Leonard, both on the League of Friends here. And, you know, we're inside here recording this today, which is interesting because obviously you know there's the situation. We've had the report. Kate Beecroft, the Minister, has changed the way things are done here in Ramsey, especially as far as the operating theatre is concerned. And you guys clearly aren't happy about it. You've asked to talk about it. And I know you saw the interview I did with her the other day. So let's go back, shall we, first of all, on timelines. You knew this was happening, I'm guessing, and therefore you knew what to expect, right?
No, nobody knew what was happening.
You didn't know?
Nobody knew what was happening. The first I knew about it was last Monday evening, when it just happens that a member of the committee heard that they were moving the endoscopy unit down to Nobles and closing the theatre. I immediately rang Ramsey MHK Laurie Hooper and I said, "What's going on, Laurie?" And he says, I don't know. He said, "I was with Kate earlier this afternoon and she didn't tell me." So I put a call into Kate Beecroft and she rang me the following day and I said, "What's the problem with the endoscopy at Ramsey?" And she said, "I can't tell you because of operational reasons." So I said, "Well, is it a problem in Ramsey? Is it a problem in Douglas?" "I can't tell you, operational reasons." And that was when we first knew. There'd been no consultation with the staff. There'd been no consultation with any of the trustees, because there's not only a League of Friends, there are other trustees as well. And no consultation with the stakeholders, which of course is the people of the north of the island, and it's their money that have contributed to all the things that we've put to this hospital and which have made it to a place of excellence.
I was going to come to that, because I mean, you're the treasurer of this. I mean, you raise significant funds to kit this place out or do whatever, but it has to be spent here, doesn't it?
The objects clause of our trust deed makes it clear that it's for the benefit of the patients of Ramsey Cottage Hospital. So that means users of the services here. They don't necessarily have to be in the hospital itself, but we are most certainly excluded from providing facilities within the buildings at Nobles Hospital.
And we like to consider also that we're a hospital for all the island. Mm-hmm. and we're very pleased when people from other parts of the island come up for treatment. But the fact is that we've spent, or the trustees and ourselves have spent about £200,000 on the endoscopy unit, and now the whim of the Minister, they've decided that they're going to close it here, take it to Douglas and take our equipment.
Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to recall the interview, but she's quite relaxed about the whole thing. I think the impression was that you jumped the gun, basically. Everything's going to be fine, everything's going to continue, people won't have any trouble about it.
She tried to do it under the radar. That's what she tried to do. And because it took her quite a while to come back with any response, because she hadn't prepared one, she thought that's what she could do. But the fact is, it's a very valued service here. The West Midlands Quality Assurance team that was over
they
last year...
They assessed, didn't they? Yes.
Well, they assessed parts of Nobles and the health service, which didn't get a good report. They came here and they gave the endoscopy unit here a glowing report. They said it was one of the best that they'd ever seen. And now the Minister, without giving any reasons now, other than saying it's not to save money, it's to cut down the waiting list. How can she possibly be cutting down the waiting list just by removing... They did 689 endoscopies here last year, so they've got to add that onto their list, take our staff, which was a brilliant team here, and there's going to be no extra capacity, whereas here there's a large extra capacity that the staff here were willing to do to cut the endoscopy waiting list.
But the operating theatre is not shutting or anything like that. She made that clear in the interview, as far as I remember, that it was just a reallocation. You're not having that either, no?
No, we're not having that, because the operating theatre here isn't staffed, and if they wanted to use it tomorrow they couldn't. They would now have to transfer staff from Nobles. Yeah. So quite what the fallback position for the health service is if there's an MRSA outbreak at Nobles, I do not know.
Do you think there's a threat here to the future of this place, then?
Well, the Minister said, she deflected the whole point, saying, we're not going to close the hospital, I can give that assurance. That was never a point of discussion at this time at all. It's, I'm afraid the Minister thought that she didn't have to consult with anyone. This was, and I have to say, a smash and grab. Really, we'll come in quickly, take the stuff, take the staff, take all the equipment, take the staff and the equipment down there, and nobody's going to protest. Well, I'm afraid that's not wrong. That is wrong.
But you were on the radio fairly fast. the next sort of day as soon as you heard, and she sort of said, I'm trying to think what she said in my interview, don't worry, nothing is going to happen, you just got the wrong end of the stick almost, like, things will carry on as normal.
I suspect not, because Mrs Beecroft had a meeting with the trustees 2 months ago. None of this was mentioned. It was about how the hospital could best be utilised to enhance the service provision to the users of medical services, and 2 months later there's a 180-degree flip and she's taking facilities away. So to quote some B. Westons, white woman speak with forked tongue.
Now Mrs Beecroft is just sort of flicking her fingers and saying we're going to close that down, and that's not acceptable at all.
What can you do about it? It's done, isn't it? You said the smash and grab, to use your words, has happened. The staff are gone, the equipment's going.
I'm afraid there's some, the people of the Isle of Man, or certain people of the north of the island, are very fond of this hospital. They've supported it for 100 years. They are not very happy. I think there's a meeting called, isn't there, Richard?
Yeah, requisition.
A requisition notice has been put into the chairman of Ramsey Commissioners in order that the minister and her political members can be quizzed as to exactly what future she sees for this hospital.
So, and what can I say? One other thing. There was a quote actually in the newspaper from the department, and I want to give this quote because it is just. Well, it's insulting.
From who?
It's insulting. From the department. Well, from Mr Beecroft, from the department.
From the department.
And they said that the department felt sure, and I'm quoting them here, that's what I'm reading.
Right, yes, sure.
The department felt sure that the charity trustees will, above all, want to see their donations used to provide better services. I'm afraid the people of the North and Ramsey donate their money for Ramsey. The League of Friends of Douglas donate the money for Douglas. It is not for the people of Ramsey to donate their equipment to Douglas, so that's why it's a smash and grab.
There's been pressure on this place. I mean, you stood on this whole issue of keeping this place going in the past, right?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, but I mean, do you feel that worried that there's a bigger agenda here, afoot here, to interfere with the running of this place?
My own view, and the trustees haven't met, so I can't speak for them, is that there most certainly is a hidden agenda to turn this into a long-term respite unit for bed blockers at Nobles Hospital. Wow. They want to take frontline services away from Ramsey. My personal view is that is what the agenda is.
Your view?
When Mr Beecroft came here and she sat in this very room and she said to us, I've got plans for Ramsey, and because it's underutilised, I've got plans. She didn't tell us anything about those plans. We still don't know anything about those plans. But what we do know that in the past there have been voices in Nobles wishing to close this hospital. Now, it appears that this certain move is a form of centralisation, and I think that is coming possibly from the UK.
Is she going to have a bit of conflict being Liv Van here? Because I can imagine her in the past house would be the first one probably jumping up and down about this sort of thing. Do you think it's this thing about power corrupts minister?
I'm afraid it appears to me now that the minister believes in open government, except when she doesn't want to use it.
Right. So where do we go from here? But you've got your meeting. What else can you do?
We don't know if the chairman has acceded to the request yet. We most certainly hope that he will, so that the people of the North can quiz Mrs Beecroft and obtain some comfort from her. Answers given in public, not behind closed doors and using smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. And the other thing is, we don't know whether, when they've reduced the waiting lists, if they do reduce the waiting list, whether it's the intention then to bring the endoscopy service back here, or whether they're going to say it's a fait accompli, bye-bye.